What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So I want to talk about dreams and the spiritual connection that is very, very prevalent right now. I hope I don't get flagged by YouTube. I got music in the back, and I just want to vibe out. I don't want it to be like silent. But anyway, so I want to talk about the veil that has been. I could feel the veil between this earthly realm and the spiritual realm is very, very thin right now. I don't know what's happening cosmically or whatever, but the veil is very thin. And the communication between the earthly realms and the spiritual realm is very, very strong. It's very strong right now. So I'm going to take my time and work through this because there's a couple of things I want to get out in this message. So we're just going to vibe out with the message. I'm going to just let it come out how it comes out. But the first thing I want to talk about is working with your dreams. So I know if I'm experiencing this, other people are experiencing this. And I just felt like I should share this message because it's so easy to communicate with yourself spiritually right now and get communication back. I feel like we're constantly communicating, whether you're praying or meditating or whatever the case may be, but sometimes it's like that space of waiting for a response or waiting for the answer or whatever the case is. That the time between the prayer or the sending out the communication and receiving the answer or the communication back is shorter right now. And so I want to talk about some ways to really tap into that. So let me see. I think I need to talk about the way spirit communicates first for those that don't know. If you're already on your spiritual journey, I'm pretty sure you know this, but all right. What a spirit is. I just want to break this shit down to the very basic level. Whatever you believe in, God, spirits, ancestors, whatever you connect with in the other realm is all within you. First of all, it's not something that you're reaching for externally. It's inside of you. It's a part of who you are. So we have this physical body. I think I talked about this in the last video, but we have this physical body that's just a vehicle. It's not who you are. It's just a part of who you are on the earth. This body is with the earth. But what animates this body, this vehicle, is your spirit inside. So it's just like a car. Your car is a vehicle. You aren't the car. You're just using the car as a vehicle to get you places or to drive you somewhere. That's the same thing for this body. But you're in the car, you're a person in the car, but you're not the actual car. So this physical body that we're in is just our car, it's our vehicle, one of our vehicles that we use to experience life on earth. But the essence of who we are is a spirit. And with that spirit, we're connected to many different parts of our spirit, which is things like our ancestors, our spirit guides, angels, God, all these different parts of ourselves, which is like almost infinite. And I don't want to get into that right now. But my point in saying that is that you have a part of you that is a spirit that's inside of you. And you can communicate with that spirit in order to help you. So one of the things that I recently, over the last couple of years, grasped the concept of, because some of these spiritual concepts are really hard to grasp and like ground into yourself. But one concept that I understood was that whatever challenge you're going through on this earthly realm, there's a part of you or a you that's in a higher realm or a different dimension that knows the answer to get you through the challenge or to get you through whatever it is that you're going through. And I know a lot of people are going through shit this year. And I'm here to say, because this is something that I've tapped into recently, is there's a part of you that is above that challenge and can get you through it. But you got to be able to communicate to that part of you so it can give you the answer. All right, getting back to the dreams, which is a form of communication. Um, okay, before I get to that, how your how your spirit, how you communicate with spirit. All right, so I'm communicating to you guys through English, right? Through a language. Our spirit doesn't always communicate through language. It has its own language, its own style of communication that, okay, it has its own style of communication. I guess I should say it like that. Words, and especially like the English language, is it's very complicated. Like, it's convoluted because we have words that are spelled the same but have two different meanings, or we have words that are spelled differently but they sound the same, and or we have different where the word is the same, but if you're in a different part of the culture, it means something different. Like, words in the South mean something different than words in New York or Jersey in the North, or in California, or in Texas. Like, we have our own like dialect and our own language and our own words that mean certain things. Whereas if you're in a different part of the United States, it means something different. Or if you're in a different country, like we speak English in the US. London, the British also speak English, but they have different meanings, different names, and it's just very convoluted, the language that we speak on Earth. But there is another language, and as someone who has traveled the world and been in places where people only know a couple of words of English, and I've been able to communicate with them without even knowing their language, because there's a spiritual language that we speak. Some people call it telepathy, some people call it intuition, but there's different modes of communication where we can communicate to each other's spirit. And so all of that to say, we have our own spirit that we can communicate with. And one way that our spirit communicates with us is through dreams. Dreams aren't just dreams. All right, let me just first say that. And I think now, in the time that we're in now, that's starting to reveal itself. It's raining, y'all. I think that's a nice little touch. And the music went away. Dreams aren't just dreams. They're ways of communication. So when we go to sleep, we shut our physical bodies down, our consciousness in a way, and we tap into a different part of ourselves, which is the spirit. So sometimes in our dreams, we travel to different places. Sometimes we are in the past, sometimes we're in the future, sometimes we're in different dimensions where it's like, or a parallel universe where it's like similar, but things are different. You know, you can go anywhere when you're in your dreams, AKA your spirit, because your spirit isn't bound by the body. So it can go to any different place within your own consciousness or in your own mind. So when you go to sleep and your consciousness shut down, I don't want to go into the consciousness, subconscious, all that shit. That's a whole like thing. But when you're in your dream state, you are limitless. That's why it's weird. You can go through weird shit in your dreams, stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, you see things in your dreams that's like, what the fuck was that? Like, that was so weird, because your mind isn't bound by the labels and the constructs of this 3D reality. And I'm going to get into that with labels. I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, because I got a message about that. But communicating to our spirit. So 3 things that our spirit communicates to us with is trauma. Shout out to Brother Panic for dropping this. Trauma, repetition, and symbols. I don't want to go into trauma or repetition right now, but I want to talk about symbols, because dreams are symbols. So if you've ever, and I'm pretty sure everybody that's listening here has watched a movie, And when you're watching a movie, we're in a time where movies are out a lot, TV shows, movies. And movies and TV shows are really, really powerful because they're communicating to your spirit. They use communication to your spirit. And so, although sometimes we get into the drama or the adventure or the action of movies, there's also things happening in the movie that brings messages and symbols. And your spirit or subconscious reacts to that. It doesn't know the difference between a movie and reality because we're living in a movie. You individually are living in a story, a movie. So that's why when you go to movie theaters or you're watching a movie and something crazy happens, you're like, you jump or you're like, oh shit, like it scares you or it brings an emotion because your spirit body or your subconscious or your body, really your body in essence, because your body has its own intelligence, it doesn't know the difference between the movie that you're watching and the reality that you're living. So hold that thought. Movies tell stories. It's not just a movie. It tells stories. And in that story is a message that your spirit, your subconscious connects to and hears and listens to. So when you dream every night, you are in a movie. You're in your movie that's telling a story. This is why you got to be in touch with yourself. This is why this is where the know thyself comes in, and like self-care and being connected to yourself. This whole thing that's out right now of like knowing yourself. This is a part of that. You got to know yourself so that when you have dreams, you know what your spirit is communicating to you, because your spirit is here in your body, but it's also connected to so many other realms that's communicating things to you. And you got to be able to know yourself, know your story, and to be able to hear that. So dreams. When you dream, and I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact that a lot of people are remembering their dreams more now than ever because the veil is getting thinner, like I said, and the level of communication between the 3D or the physical and the spirit is so much more stronger than it used to be. And so when you dream, there's a story being told. You got to be able to decode that story. So you got to be able to decode movies. Going back to Brother Panic, I would check him out. I would check his channel out. Like, he has so much information out about how to decode movies that are based off of mythologies, like ancient mythologies. The only reason we even know about a lot of spiritual information is through stories. We can go to the Bible. Jesus had a story. It was a movie, a story written about him. Buddha, there was a story written about him. Allah, whatever direction you want to go in when it comes to different spiritual systems or spiritual religions, there's always a story. In the Bible, it's always stories because stories give messages, aka symbols, to your spirit, your subconscious mind. So when you learn how to decode those stories and get the message out of the story, not just pay attention to the timeline of the story, but the actual message, you'll be able to get some of the little gems in it that will like guide you and lead you. And that's why certain religions are so powerful in moving people in a certain direction because of the stories that they tell. This is why mythologies are so powerful. You have a story, a mythology, every time you go to sleep. Your spirit, your subconscious is giving you a story to give you a message based off of where you are, where your mindset is, what kind of questions you're asking yourself, or whatever challenge you're going through. So, learn how to decode your dreams. The people in your dreams, the animals in your dreams, the places in your dreams are all very, very important in giving you the message of the answer to your questions or the answer to your challenge. Because again, like I said earlier, there's a part of you that's above the challenge, that knows how to beat the challenge just like that. It's just like tying your shoe. At one time, you didn't know how to tie your shoe. That was a challenge. You had to go through this process of figuring out how to tie your shoe, and someone had to teach you. Well, it's almost like now we're going through some challenges that there's nobody that is here to teach you how to tie your shoe. And the way you tie your shoe, you got on a different shoe from somebody else. So tying shoes is different for every person. So you can't really ask somebody else how to tie your shoe because your shoe is laced way differently. And in this convoluted knot that you don't even know how to unravel to even tie it. But there's a part of you that is the essence of tying your shoes specifically. And it's telling you in your dreams how to tie your shoe. It's giving you little hints, little puzzle pieces on how to tie your shoe. So decoding your dreams and paying attention, that's why it's essential. When you first wake up from a dream, write that shit down and contemplate on it. ChatGPT is a really good tool to use right now in decoding your dreams. Like at least getting it out to where it's like like ChatGPT will give you like, oh, there's a symbol for this. This is probably meaning this, and this. It's engaging you. Even if it doesn't give you the correct answer, it's engaging you in figuring out what your dream meant, and the answer will come, whether it comes through ChatGPT or it just comes through you engaging and asking the questions of what this dream mean. You can do that by yourself, but taking the time to actually decode it is very, very important, because the more you bring yourself back, when you wake up from a dream, you're bringing yourself back from whatever reality you were in. So you start remembering like, oh, okay, I'm back in this body. You're doing this like subconsciously. I'm back in this body. I'm back in this reality. All right, let me get up. I got to get ready for work. I got to do this. I got to do that. And your mind starts like filling itself with everything that you have to do. So it takes away, and that's why we forget our dreams a lot. It takes away from the message that your dream was giving you, that your spirit was giving you. So I'm going to switch tracks a little bit, then I'm going to bring it back. Labels. Labels help us identify certain things, but it also limits the thing. So, for example, a tree. We know what a tree is. We know trees grow out of the ground. They make fruit. But the essence of a tree is so much more. But we've labeled it to a tree. In some cultures, trees are life because they give herbs or they give vines and different things that can heal you. So in a different culture, they could look at a tree as a deity or a god because it literally can heal the body or save your life. So that's what I'm saying. Like these labels can restrict you, and they can restrict not only nature or things around you in this reality, but who you are. Because like I said, you're a spirit. So Spirit gave me this like as a message. And this is also like decoding messages in your waking reality. I have a cousin, I'm gonna tell this story. I have a cousin that is into genealogy, and she is like hardcore with it. Like she goes to the libraries and finds documentation on our history, on our family history, like where we came from, all this shit. And so we have conversations because I'm also into that spiritually, you know, on the ancestor side of things. So it helps me a lot when we have these conversations. She comes from like a physical standpoint and I come from the spiritual standpoint. So she found some information in the archives from South Carolina, where I'm from, on my great-grandmother's grandmother. So a great-great-great whatever grandmother. She's a grandmother regardless. She's just a very great grandmother. She was, in the documentation that she found, a slave. So it was written down that she was a slave. A native slave, not necessarily from Africa, but was already here slave. Native American slave, which was also considered Negro back in the day. That's another story. But she also found documentation that the slave owner, her slave owner, married her, had children, and left her and the kids with all his wealth. Basically, the land, whatever they had as far as money back then. I don't think it was like dollar money. It was like more so land and cattle or like animals and stuff like that. But basically left it all to her and her children, which is from my lineage, my mother's lineage. And so she was telling me the story, and even to the point where the slave owners, which was a white man, his sisters took that to court because they were like, no, why are you giving everything to this slave and the children? Like, no, we're going to fight that. So what Spirit dropped in me was labels. Take away the labels. Because even though on paper it said that she was a slave, but in her mind, in her spirit, she wasn't a slave. Because you tell me how many slaves not only married their slave owner, but had children, and the slave owner left them everything. Sis had some power, okay? And she knew her power. Because a real slave that's like, oh, I'm just a slave and that's all I am, would have never gotten that far. You know, you can say, yeah, you know, the slave owners kind of had their way with the slaves back in the day. But the fact that he left everything to her and her children, that already lets me know that she had more power than to just be a slave. She impacted him in a way, whether she knew it or not. She impacted him in a powerful way to where he left everything. That went against his own family because the sisters wasn't having it. His sisters was like, hell no, why you giving everything to the slave? What the fuck is wrong with you? We taking this shit to court. And I won't get into the whole story about that. But my point in saying that is that she didn't let her label contain her as a slave. She knew her power and she knew who she was. And she acted upon that to the point where she got all the slave owner had. So in a way, she put herself to the level of the slave owner. And what Spirit dropped on me was that these labels that we have restricted ourselves in these days, the labels of how much you have in your bank account, what your title is at your job, what your title is in your family, what your title is in this society. Some of us that are considered African American or ethnic or person of color, that's supposed to be less than other races, and y'all know what I'm talking about, that doesn't mean anything. That's just a construct to fuck up your mind. But in reality, you're bigger than that. You're more than that in your spirit. And when you're able to like connect with that, you can do so much more in the world. Nothing's gonna stop you. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can make shit happen, just like my grandmother down the line. She didn't just let the label of slave identify her. She let her spirit identify her. And her spirit gave her the power to take over. So I'm telling all of that, telling that story, my personal story, to tell everyone that's going through something right now, your spirit is bigger than any challenge that you're going through. And you can directly communicate with that power, that spirit within you through your dreams. So if you're not even a spiritual person and you know nothing about spirituality at the very basic level, you can connect with your spirit through your dreams. Whatever challenge you're going through, whatever question you need to ask, just think about that shit before you go to sleep. Just start. People do that shit anyway. A lot of people ain't sleeping because they got so many issues going on that they can't even sleep because they're just like in the bed thinking about their problems all night. That's fine. When you finally go to sleep and you dream, when you wake up, you need to write down whatever was going on in your dream because that's giving you an answer to your problems. There's a whole nother side of you that a lot of us aren't conscious of yet, that we're starting to be more conscious of, that is the answer to all your questions. And we're in this society where now everybody's an expert on everybody. So everyone's like reaching outside of themselves and listening to everybody else and then watching what everybody else is doing to get the answers to their problems. That ain't the way, boo, because they haven't walked your path. They don't have the same history that you have. We're a lot of us are connected in certain ways. Like I know if you follow all the way to the end of this video, something connected in you for you to hear this message that I'm giving you. We're connected somehow. But I'm not the answer to your problems. I'm just giving you something that connects us all that can give us that can give you specifically the answer. I can't give you the answer. No one can give you the answer. The only person that can give you the answer is your spirit. And if you pay attention more and bring your awareness to a bigger place, then this is just your dream, the label, and see it as, oh, this is my spirit giving me something. This is my movie. This is my reality in a different reality that's giving me answers to this reality. You'll take off. You'll take off. And that's what I've been experiencing. I've always been like a dreamer and connected to my dreams, but it's something about the space that we're in now. It's very, very strong. The dreams are very, very they're very vivid, sometimes it's like I don't know the difference between when I'm in a dream and when I'm in the 3D reality. They're both very real. And that's how I know the veil is thinner and that the messages are coming through because things are becoming more spiritual. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. Because that's a message that's something that I've been experiencing lately. And like I said, if I'm experiencing it, I know there are way more other people experiencing it too. So listen to them dreams and get them answers. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.